What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Film Jump with your host, Jesse and Chris. How you doing, Chris?
Doing just fine, sir. How about yourself?
Good, good. Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year, indeed.
It is 2024.
Yeah. It is definitely another year.
It is another year. Let's jump into movies that we're kind of excited to see. We'll talk about our anticipated movies, most anticipated, popular, maybe not so. I don't know. Who knows? But before we do that, before we started recording,
Sure.
you were telling me about this whole Nolan thing on Twitter.
Yeah.
You got to share with the listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. So apparently Christopher Nolan accepted some award recently where he gave this little blip about how his Peloton instructor was talking crap on Tenet during like the session, and people were like, "Oh, that's like a funny little anecdote," but apparently like they found the clip of the instructor doing this. And so hold on here, I'll back it up.
Yeah. Well, and for the listeners, if you haven't seen Tenet, it's one of his most complex movies for sure.
Yeah, and because of the lockdowns, it is the least attended Christopher Nolan movie in theaters of the last like 20 years. So basically nobody saw it in theaters.
It's a good movie.
And yeah, it's actually really good. It's aged pretty well. But anyway, here's his Peloton instructor. Imagine you're Christopher Nolan biking away, doing your thing, while the instructor's going on and on about this.
This song is from the soundtrack of a movie called Tenet. Anybody see this? Did anybody see this besides me? Because I need a manual. Someone's got to explain this. Yeah, I'm not kidding. What the is going on in that movie? Do you understand? Seriously, you need to be a neuroscientist to understand. And that's 2.5 hours of my life that I want back. I want it back.
I can only imagine how absolutely how absolutely attacked Christopher Nolan felt as he was doing his Peloton bit and hearing the instructor talk mad crap on his movie.
Well, he's such a solid dude, though. He's probably like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, heck, he shared that at some award he received. So, I mean, clearly he takes it all in good stride, but that's just like such a specific thing. And she goes on about how crappy his movie is. That's just great. That's great.
So, speaking of Nolan, I know I teased it before, but for sure, we're going to do the Nolan episode, I think, next.
Yeah.
Where we go over his filmography. And I think it'll be special, with the awards season coming up, the Golden Globes and the Oscars.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it'll be timely.
Yeah, he's got a dozen films, so not too crazy long of a filmography to go over. And this might be his year for the Oscars. I mean,
yeah, let's talk Oscars real quick before we go into 2024.
Yeah.
I've said it before, we don't put a whole lot of stock into the Oscars anymore because they've gotten some things wrong. They've gotten some things right. I mean, it is all subjective at the end of the day, but the voters are people of the industry. So, you figure that they would kind of, I don't know, want to champion some stuff here and there, but
yeah, sometimes it feels like them being insiders is sometimes just as helpful or just as hurtful as it is helpful. Like they have their own heads up their own butts and all they know is the industry. So, there's a film that's really, really big amongst the film industry that the average person in America did not give a crap about and didn't go see. Mm-hmm. So like, oh, this is Best Picture. We're going to tell the peons what Best Picture was.
Right.
When it's like, no, sometimes the film, not necessarily always the biggest hit at the box office, but sometimes the popular film that everyone loved is the popular film everyone loved for a reason. It's not necessarily Hollywood's job to pluck out the most obscure thing and tell us that was actually the best. So, when the Academy gets it right, they get it right. And when they get it wrong, they're idiots.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. I got into like not really a debate on Twitter, or X rather, but I got into a constructive conversation.
I like that everything is Twitter, currently known as X, or X formerly known as Twitter. Like, there's no way to just say X. I don't know if we'll get there. We're a few years away.
Well,
maybe.
It's just when you tell people who aren't on it, it's like, oh yeah, on X. It's like, what are you watching? It's kind of weird. It sounds dirty.
Yeah, X has some dirty connotations on the internet.
But anyways, when I was on Twitter earlier today, actually, and we're recording this on January 4th, I saw a post where somebody was talking about how they were looking at who won last year for the best supporting female. Was it for Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yeah. What, Jamie Lee Curtis?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Okay, yeah.
They were saying how it wasn't deserved and other people should have won, which happens every year. It's fine.
Yeah.
And so they talked about how it was like one of the biggest kind of like letdowns. So I posted also this, and I posted a little clip or GIF of Shakespeare in Love.
Gwyneth Paltrow, yeah.
Gwyneth Paltrow and the other Fiennes brother.
Ralph. not Rafe, but
not Ralph Fiennes or whatever his name is.
Oh gosh, what's his name?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyways, this from Shakespeare in Love, and when that beat Saving Private Ryan for Best Picture, I think I am with the majority of people who think, yeah, it was snubbed. It should have been Saving Private Ryan, because that movie Shakespeare in Love is really only remembered for being the movie that won when it shouldn't have.
Yeah, Joseph Fiennes.
Yeah. So I tweeted that also this, like it was a disappointment in my opinion.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I remember I checked out of the Oscars then. But then this lady comments and she's like, and all due respect, nothing against her, but she's like, I love Shakespeare. and I'm summarizing here. She's like, I love Shakespeare, and I'm a teacher, so I love.
You found the Shakespeare in Love stand,
Yeah, the one that's out there, and she's like, I prefer it over just big battle scenes, and I was like, whoa,
man, yeah, that's when they triggered you.
So, but I kept it nice.
Jesse's like, I'm activated now. You did not just call Saving Private Ryan just big battle scenes.
Yeah, I was nice though. I said, look, it's subjective. You can like what you like, but lady, if you ever listen to this, you are absolutely 100% dead wrong.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been nice. I would have been like, you're a cat lady, aren't you? I'd have been like, are you married? Probably not.
She's a school teacher.
Divorced? So. I bet. I would have torn into her.
So yeah, she was like all into that. I'm like, man, you were oversimplifying one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's not like it's a Michael Bay, action movie. It's like Saving Private Ryan's an excellent film. I don't even love that film as much as some people do, but it's a great movie.
How many other Oscars did Shakespeare in Love win other than Best Picture? Best screenplay or adapted screenplay?
Yeah, whatever. Did Gwyneth Paltrow win for being nude or something like that? Great
I remember. Yeah,
but,
regardless,
something like that. I remember there was a big controversy that like she won and like she got like because when Halle Berry won for Monsters Ball, people were saying she only won it because like it took her getting nude to win it, and they were like, that's never happened before, and people pointed out that it happened to Gwyneth Paltrow in Shakespeare in Love. So that's why I know that trivia.
Well, Saving Private Ryan took away 5, including Best Director and all that other stuff.
It's almost one of those where it's like statistically, how do you win so many and not get Best Picture? It's like once you start to rack up 4, 5, 6, 7 categories that you're considered the best in, but you're not the best overall. It's like, how many of those do you got to get to earn Best Picture?
Yeah, seriously. All right, so moving on to the topic, as the title suggests, movies that we're excited for or our most anticipated movies of 2024. I don't know how much 24 is going to be like severely affected by the writers and actors strike. I know maybe stuff later on, but I know a lot of stuff got delayed anyway, so we're getting a lot of holdovers.
It's definitely a light schedule. Like I think there was an article I read that compared the first 3 months, and there's something like a dozen fewer wide releases planned just in the first 3 months alone than 2023. And I think the box office in North America is expected to drop by $1 billion. And I think there's something like 8 or 9 weekends on the calendar that currently don't have any wide releases. And usually, as a frame of reference, I used to be a movie theater manager. Usually, that's like maybe 2 or 3 weekends in a year where there's not a new wide release. Mm-hmm. Maybe like just after Thanksgiving, or just depending on when the first of the year falls. If it's like on a Friday or Thursday or something, like that first weekend of the year sometimes won't have anything new. So it's like usually very few weekends in the year that happens, and like to have like 8 or 9 on the books that don't have a wide release is pretty big deal.
Yeah, no, and I think I did say let's jump on the Oscars, and I kind of passed right over that. But look, last thing about the Oscars, and we're for sure moving on. Yeah. Hopefully Oppenheimer and Nolan and everybody involved get their due. I think it's going to get 12 nominations. I'm thinking 12.
Yeah, I don't know if I can call nominations. I think it should be nominated for pretty much anything it qualifies for,
which I think is going to be 12, potentially 13. I'm calling 12 noms.
And that's including that it's already out for VFX.
Yeah,
which is kind of a shame.
I think it is what it is. But I'm thinking 12.
Yeah, all I'll say on that is that once upon a time, Tron was excluded from being nominated for Best VFX because using computers was considered cheating. And now it seems like a film that used like no CGI, like Oppenheimer, is being excluded because nowadays, if you're not using CGI, that's somehow not considered special effects.
Well, it's visual effects too.
Yeah, so it's a weird turnaround we've made. But I do think like all the technicals, your sound design, your editing, your sound editing, sound mixing.
Well, that's all combined into one now. The sound editing and sound mixing is just one.
I always thought it was weird that it was two different
ones. That's why it would have been like 13 or 14
So sound mixing, editing is one. Like cinematography, overall editing, best adapted screenplay. I mean, how
production design, stuff like that.
Musical score, directing, best picture. I think it deserves not to be that guy, but I'm up for Oppenheimer sweeping everything it gets nominated for. And since it's not qualifying for best visual effects, then best VFX has to go to Godzilla -1.
Yeah, no doubt. Did you see people were up in arms that Barbie has been moved from best original screenplay, potentially like the shortlist, to now best adapted, and they're like, adapted, it was an original story, but people don't understand that the character, if it's a character based off a previous work, it's adapted no matter what it is.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't have to be adapted from a book or a comic or anything like that. Like, this is an existing property, so any screenplay you come up with for a character like Barbie is an adapted screenplay. People are probably salty because that increases its chances that it's going to lose to Oppenheimer, but
it is what it is.
Either or, yeah.
All right, so back to 2024. I don't know if you have the list in front of you. I don't, so I'm just going to be going off.
Yeah, I'm a chronological kind of guy. So we can go through here. I'm not going to mention every single thing that I have on the, in the calendar here. But as stuff jumps up, I will bring it up. The first up in the year is that Night Swim horror movie, which I think looks pretty trashy, and by all accounts is pretty trashy.
Well, let's go over the movies that we are actually gonna want to go out and watch,
fair enough,
just to keep it streamlined a little bit.
Sure. No, I'm gonna mention every single. I'm gonna mention every single release of the year. We talked about this. No, I'm joking.
5-hour podcast. Here we go.
Does anyone care about the Mean Girls musical? I don't think so.
I mean,
no. I don't. I don't.
Is Rachel McAdams going to be in it?
I don't think
so. Then I don't care.
So, yeah, no. It's all these names I don't know. The Beekeeper with Jason Statham actually looks kind of cool. Actually looks kind of cool. Yep.
Dude, Ayer is David Ayer. I think he's a much better director than
he gets credit for,
because the studios meddle, like Zack Snyder. The studios meddle into his cuts all the time.
If you want to see a real David Ayer movie, watch Fury. Watch End of Watch.
End of Watch.
Well, both of those are really good. My dad told me that was his all-time favorite cop depiction movie. My dad was a career police officer. Yeah,
without going into anything, without whatever, I would also agree. Yeah. It's like the best one out there.
Yeah. So, ISS, that weird, that interesting International Space Station one where the war breaks out while they're on the ISS.
And how timely it's between Russia.
Very well timed. Like, did they throw that thing together in the last year? Like very, very positive timing.
What did you see now that Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie is now in the public domain?
I know. I almost
all the horror movies that were.
Yeah. So there's Mickey's Mousetrap, which is not as protected legally, and then there's the other one that's just literally called Steamboat Willie. That's much more protected legally. I'm in the camp of everybody should do their own Steamboat Willie thing because Disney can't possibly sue everyone. I'm like, we should all make it. I was almost joking with you. I'm like, find a copy of Steamboat Willie, upload it to the channel, and just call it Steamboat Willie is in the public domain. I'm like, they can't sue us all, so it is what it is. All right, let's see here. Going down the list, none of these are jumping.
Dude, that means that not only Steamboat Willie, but like Popeye and all of them have to be soon.
Yeah, they're going to be coming. I mean, I think another 10 years and Superman and Batman starting to go. But it goes by the issues. So if there's a character introduced after the first issue of Batman, you can't use it. So things like Robin and some of that comes in later. Argyle, are you interested in Argyle?
So I will tell you the only reason why Argyle I think is actually doing well previews-wise is because they don't actually tell you who Argyle is. Yeah. What's her name? Margot Robbie just went on Twitter and said that. And when I say went on Twitter, it's not like she actually tweeted, but there was
an interview. A quote from her on
a quote from her where she was like, "Trailers give away too much," and then somebody was like, "Yeah, that's why Argyle is awesome because nobody knows who Agent Argyle really is."
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm actually hit or miss with Matthew Vaughn. I prefer his earlier work.
Yeah.
His First Class, and
I liked First Class, and I liked the first Kingsman. I remember I saw the second Kingsman in theaters. I was like, "This."
And Kick-Ass is good too.
Oh yes, Kick-Ass is great. So Kick-Ass 1, Kingsman 1, First Class. But like Kingsman 2, I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "What? This is nonsense." And I don't know, like Argyle, like the whole concept of like, okay, so Henry Cavill's playing a character in the movie that's not even a real character. He's like a character in the book within the movie. I hate stuff like that. I hate it when movies spend like time and money and screen time on crap that's like nonsense within the reality of the movie. And I feel like whatever twist about Agent Argyle at the end, I feel like it's going to be very disappointing.
It's going to end up being like the cat or something.
Yeah, it's going to be something really, I don't know. I feel like that's the kind of movie that when I watch it, it's going to piss me off for one reason or another. I'm like, I'm going to avoid it. Until some people tell me it's amazing, I'm going to avoid it.
And, you know, Matthew Vaughn's been kind of going down this Guy Ritchie thing where you can absolutely tell that the movies are a Matthew Vaughn movie, which I think is a really good compliment for a director. But he's starting to, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're going to get our first trash heap of the movie for Valentine's Day, Madam Web.
Ooh, Madam Web.
Does that not look awful?
I mean, it just looks like another Sony Marvel.
Another non-Spider-Man movie.
Jeez,
how many of those can they make? I mean, Sydney Sweeney's in it, so I mean, that'll be fine. But
great performance.
Yeah, but I mean, it just seems such a... And look, I'll just say I'm not the market for it. That's like an all-ladies movie, clearly for like a ladies' audience. I'm not trying to hate or anything. If you're a guy and you're excited for it, so be it. That's fine. No judgments. But like, I'm not the market for that movie. No. I think it looks trashy. No thank you.
I don't know. It's just so weird to me. Like,
I just can't stand like Venom, Morbius. They're gonna do Kraven the Hunter, Madam Web, all of these non-Spider-Man movies. Like, what is the game here?
Yeah, give us Spider-Man.
Yeah, like eventually, or at least I'm like, are they trying to figure out who their Spider-Man's gonna be? Like, they're trying to bring Toby or Andrew back, or try to make it Tom Holland. Like, what are they doing? I don't know. All right, then let's see here. What are we going for after this? Dune Part 2 on March 1st.
Dune's probably in the top 5 for me.
Yeah, I'm
top 3.
And I was one of those that I was kind of soft on the first Dune when I first saw it. And I just something about it didn't quite click with me. But then I kept thinking about the movie and wanting to watch it again. And it just was one of those that like the shelf life on that movie was incredibly strong for me. It was like within a month I went from... okay, I don't really know what all the hype was about to like, hey, I totally love this movie. So
I loved it too. And I got to see it in theaters. Dude, just fantastic in the theater. Yeah. Like real boomy and loud and just...
That's probably the
Denis Villeneuve's direction is... Yeah. Man, it just elevates that genre.
Yeah, him, I'm notoriously not a huge fan of Blade Runner 2049, but I thought from the get-go that he was a match made in heaven for Dune. And I loved Sicario. I love Prisoners. I love a lot of the films he's done. BR 2049 wasn't perfect for me, but I was like, oh, get him on Dune. That's exactly right, and he nailed it. And one of my great regrets as far as the most recent years of a movie I did not see in theaters.
Yeah, and much more action oriented, of course, is what supposedly.
Yeah, Part 2 looks much more epic, much more cool and awesome, and sci-fi war, and we need some of that. Because Star Wars isn't giving it to us. All right, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Did you watch Afterlife at all?
Yeah, okay. I liked it. It's good.
It was certainly a better effort than the horrible 2016
Well, and you
movie.
have family, like it's like royalty directing the movie, so it's kind of like exactly. He's going to honor it.
Yeah, and this looks like it's going to be given more of that follow up to the originals you wanted. And Paul Rudd's always fun,
Yeah, Paul Rudd is great.
All right, here's one that might be a little bit of a dark horse, but Mickey 17. From
Bong
Joon-ho.
Yes,
yeah,
dude.
And all I know about it is that it's got Robert Pattinson in it.
That's all anybody knows about it.
It's directed by Bong Joon-ho.
That's all anybody knows about it.
And like there's that image of like Robert Pattinson like on the table or upside down. So it's a sci-fi though, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's coming in after Parasite, which is widely regarded as one of the best movies in recent years. It's up there on IMDb. Best Picture, like he's got I don't know. I just feel like it's not. Bong Joon-ho is great. I love his filmography. I love everything he's done. But I almost feel like, how do you follow up the masterpiece of Parasite with anything that people I feel like are going to maybe say, oh, it's not as good and therefore might be disappointing. But I don't think that's appropriate. I think that's kind of like not a good take, but we'll see. I mean, I'm excited, dude.
Mickey 17 is his reinterpretation of Steamboat Willie.
Steamboat Willie. Oh,
yeah,
could you imagine?
It's like it's some dark twisted. I could just that would be great.
Robert Pattinson and Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, my God, masterpiece. All right, The First Omen. That's going to be a trashy horror movie. You just get the vibes. Like again, maybe it's some secret masterpiece, but I mean. Some of those things. I'm not an Omen guy.
My favorite horror movies have a little bit of camp.
Yeah,
You know, like,
and I'm more of a slasher guy when I was into horrors. Like, give me a monster or killer that they kind of blow up at the end.
Yeah,
Give me a list of victims.
Yeah.
Like, the supernatural stuff's never been my vibe.
I agree with that. I like the slasher stuff, but I also like the Megans and the Malignants. Like, I like a little bit of...
Yeah, Megan definitely was a fun
If you're
one.
going to lean into it, do it, right.
Yeah, have some fun with it. Yeah. Okay, here's a big one in April that I know is going to, over-index for this podcast. Godzilla Kong, The New Empire.
Oh, yeah. Sign me up.
That's definitely, I'll unabashedly say that's my number one. I will, take the day off from work to go see that movie.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be such a fun time, man. And that's the thing.
And filmed with IMAX cameras for the IMAX format.
First of the Monsterverse.
That's an IMAX movie for sure. Giant monsters and IMAX go together like, peanut butter and chocolate. So I'm hyped for that. That's a true statement, all right? Everyone loves Reese's, okay? Leave me alone.
Or just peanut butter and jelly, right? I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't really like peanut butter and jelly very much, so I had to find another analogy. Here's one that's going to be a bit of a hot take. Civil War from Alex Garland.
Yeah, I'm a big Alex Garland fan. I like his work so far. I'm a bigger fan of Annihilation than I think a lot of people are.
Yeah, definitely. You're a bigger fan of Annihilation than I am.
And Ex Machina.
That's for sure. And I read a script that he wrote for Halo back in the day. That script was on the internet, and his script for Halo was actually an excellent script. So
he's a good writer.
And he was involved with Dread 2012, which is really good. He didn't direct it, but he was involved with it, and that's a great movie. I haven't loved the stuff that he's directed. And my whole thing with Civil War, and someone else pointed this out, is this just going to be Hollywood in an election year telling people how to vote in a roundabout way? Is it just going to be one of those things? And I'm like, well, I'm not on board with that one way or the other. There's a way to do this where it could be very interesting. Like Civil War as a concept is dramatically interesting, but is this going to be done in a way where it's even-keeled and nuanced and has a lot to offer and is interesting and a lot to take away? Or is it going to be here's how
on the nose?
Yeah, here's how you cast your vote in November.
Yeah, I mean, it's Alex Garland, so I believe that there's going to be much more nuance than the trailer gives off.
I'm gonna need to get a few quotes from him in some interviews to see what he's saying about this. See how is he feel like he's got something to say with this movie, and he's like, I've got to tell the country.
I mean, Jesse Plemons is in it, and he's awesome.
Jesse Plemons is awesome.
What kind of American are you?
That's great meme material.
Are you a prequel American or a sequel American?
Yeah. Are you an original Saga American or a Disney Star Wars American? Because one of them is not an American at all. All right. So that's that. The Fall Guy looks like, I'm usually not on board with rom-com, action comedy type stuff, but The Fall Guy looks like such a good time at the movies.
Fun.
It looks like such a good time at the movies. It's directed by David Leitch, who was involved with the first John Wick, who did Deadpool 2, and starring Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt.
We love Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
I like Emily Blunt.
Edge of Tomorrow, great performance.
Sorry, let me just clarify. I like Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt's great. And
I think she's a great actress.
But it just looks like a fun movie. It looks like one of those old school kind of movies where it's an action comedy that guys and girls can go see, younger and older can go see it. It could be a great date movie. It could be a great with the friends movie. I feel like that movie is going to be a lot bigger than anyone is expecting.
Oh, it's giving me not more serious, that's the wrong word, but kind of Free Guy vibes, but also maybe what The Gray Man on Netflix was trying to do.
In terms of the tone and style.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Strangers Chapter 1, I have basically no interest in a Strangers prequel. I was never that big on the first Strangers. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga.
I hate that title.
They have to put Mad Max in there in the title, even though Mad Max isn't in the movie. Look, we had a Furiosa movie. It was called Fury Road. Mad Max Fury Road is pretty much all about Furiosa. And nothing wrong with that. Charlize Theron is great.
It's an excellent movie.
Tom Hardy was great in it. It was an adrenaline rush, but not a lot of confidence inspired by the Furiosa trailer. Especially because I'm we all know what's going to happen. She's going to lose her arm at the end of the movie, and the final shot's going to be...
It's in the trailer. No, it's in the trailer.
There's definitely one or two of those shots in the trailer where it feels like a final shot of the movie being shown in the trailer. It's it's going to be that. I just feel like it's going to be terribly predictable. Chris Hemsworth looks like he's going to have fun with his role.
Yeah.
But I'm is he just going to be killed by the end, and then Furiosa's I feel like because it's a prequel, you know how all this is going to go. You can deduce it.
He's just going to be Sand Thor.
Yeah. Chris Pratt about to give the performance of his life as Garfield. Garfield the animated movie.
People rag on him so much, but he's awesome.
I love Chris Pratt. Here's the thing: I'm more likely to see the Garfield movie with Chris Pratt in it than I am to see it if he weren't in it. Yeah. So there you go. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Big shoes to fill from West Ball.
Yeah. The trailer feels like it's in line with the first three in terms of tone and style.
And to be clear, it is like 100-something years after.
Yeah, it's multiple generations after the original trilogy of the remake, prequel, reboot. The Planet of the Apes franchise is a wild yarn to sift through. Wes Ball directed the Maze Runner trilogy. I remember liking the first one a lot more than I expected. And 2 and 3, not as much, but I feel like I like them maybe a little more than the average.
Here's the thing:
show.
the direction of those movies is much better than actual movies, if that makes sense.
And as far as the YA movies go, they're among the stronger batches.
I agree.
So I'm hopeful. He's not shown that he's some amazing auteur. He's gonna hit it out of the park, but I think there's potential there. But yeah, definitely big shoes to fill. And once you get more into the humanoid talking apes, it's definitely harder to pull off stylistically.
Might be a little bit uncanny.
It feels less grounded, feels less realistic. Ballerina, the John Wick spinoff with Ana de Armas in it.
That'll be good.
That's gonna be awesome. That's a slam dunk. Ana de Armas, great performance and everything.
Yeah,
she's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Inside Out 2, cannot say I'm terribly excited for that one. If you've got kids and stuff,
my kids are gonna love that.
Yeah, your kids will love it, exactly. Untitled fourth Bad Boys film. I
don't think that's happening. There's no way that's happening.
I don't know. It's currently on the schedule. I don't know if they've been secretly filming it or have.
When's the release date for that?
It's showing June, so maybe. But
they usually start dropping stuff 6 months out, right? They start rolling out.
We'll see. I've never been the biggest Bad Boys fan anyway, so
the first two by Michael Bay were
fun.
They were fun. They're typical Bayhem movies, but the third one, I guess It was good too. They're nothing special. But
Quiet Place Day 1, not directed by
Krasinski.
Thank you, John Krasinski. One of those that's more interesting based on the franchise it's a part of.
Who's in that?
So in it we've got Lupita Nyong'o, and good old legend of the cast Digimon Hansu.
Jaimin Hansu.
Yeah. So hey, that's not so bad.
He gets unceremoniously taken out in freaking the second one.
Oh, he's in that? Oh, okay. Because I only ever saw the first Quiet Place.
Oh, dude, yeah. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so, okay. So, I wasn't, hyped to see. I didn't love the first one the way a lot of people did, so I wasn't, prioritizing the second one. Okay, so it's one of those things where a character that's already been killed is in a prequel. Oh, I hate it when movies do. No, I'm not mad at the spoiler. I'm mad that they do the prequel thing of, you saw this character. They kill off Han Solo, then they're going to do a Han Solo prequel. It's stop doing that. You make it 50% less interesting doing stuff like that. I just don't like to see prequels about dead characters.
I think for somebody who didn't like the first one as much, I think you'll like the second one better. More. Plus, Cillian Murphy's in it.
I do know Cillian Murphy's in it, so I'm interested in that. He's awesome. I wonder if this means Lupita Nyong'o is going to die.
After this podcast, we're going to go watch the second one. Everybody.
So maybe Lupita Nyong'o is going to die, and Digimon Hansu will go into whatever he's doing in the second one. He's Digimon for me. All right, Horizon, an American Saga, an epic Western from Kevin Costner coming in 2 parts in the same summer. That's certainly interesting and ambitious. And the cast is cool. I'm not a huge...
his only successful ambitious project was Dances with Wolves.
I'm not a huge Western guy, and I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Kevin Costner.
See Waterworld and The Postman.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hate on him or overly bump it up, but when you've got part 1 coming in June and part 2 coming in August or something like that, I'm that sounds wild and ambitious.
Dude, his most famous work recently is getting killed in a twister from Man of Steel.
That's 10 years ago, but he was on... He was on
Yellowstone, right?
He was on those shows, right? Yellowstone and stuff, man. That here's the thing. I'm kind of indifferent towards Kevin Costner, but you're getting your hate on for Kevin Costner.
No. I actually like Kevin Costner a lot.
Crapping on Kevin Costner.
Great guy. No, I like Kevin Costner. Right. I really do.
Yeah. All right. Despicable Me 4 again. That'll be a hit. Illumination kills it, so Illumination will make $1 billion. It's going to make it.
It'll hit $1 billion for sure.
Yeah, that's they're the new in terms of bankability at the box office. Illumination's the new gold standard for animated movies. Twisters. I'm kind of interested because it's apparently not really a sequel, not really a remake. It's just kind of a new take on the concept, which actually could be really cool. And it's got Glenn Powell in it, who's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome.
It's got David Corenswet in it. The new Superman is in it. So for most people, that'll be where we get a little flavor of what he's all about.
I'm all in for a good disaster movie.
Yeah, and here's the thing. It could be perfect timing right now because it's been a while since we had a good one. Been on superheroes a long time. A new good disaster movie might hit right where we need it to.
Yeah.
Deadpool 3 right after that. here's the thing. If it does, because Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy, the director, have teamed up multiple times and delivered some really good stuff. Free Guy was great. Hugh Jackman coming back is
the Adam Project.
Yeah, Adam Project. Hugh Jackman coming back is awesome. Here's the thing. I think if they let him sort of spoof and lampoon and make fun of the whole multiverse concept, like almost even trash in the movies they've done the last couple of years, if they let him do that, that could be the gold ticket to success for them.
He has to.
If they like try to put him in a box and like, no, don't be meta and don't make fun of our stupid movies we've made the last couple of years, then it won't work. If they let him like be like, this multiverse stuff is confusing and this is idiotic. Why does any of this make sense? Who thought this would be a good idea? Like if they let him go in on it and get meta with it, it could be at least be a fun movie. I'm not talking about saving the MCU. That's impossible at this point. But this one movie could be good.
Look, I'm excited. I don't like the second one as much as the first. I think that's pretty common. However, I think the first one is probably Ryan Reynolds' best movie.
Yeah, 100%.
Ever.
100%. Yeah, ever.
Try and find another movie. Although I will say, shout out to a little rom-com that Ryan Reynolds was in called Definitely Maybe.
Okay.
Not a bad movie.
Hey, Just Friends isn't bad either. Just Friends is fun. Yeah, Just Friends is fun. We're over here like, okay, every Ryan Reynolds movie is his best movie ever. All right, we're on the Green Lantern redemption train here. No, never, not at all.
No.
All right. But, you bring Hugh Jackman back, that could be fun. And here's another
Classic yellow costume.
This is one of those where, because of the strikes, they like made essentially half the movie, and then all the strikes happened, and then now they're going to finish it. That could be a blessing in disguise, because like they edited everything they filmed while the strikes were happening. They were able to go into the editing room. The directors weren't on strike, so they were able to really look at it and see how it was working and see what they maybe needed to rework. And the writer's strike ended before the actor's strike, so they're able to maybe break out the script and say, hey, we've got some polish to make. Seeing it in, like, I just feel like it's got one of those extended production periods where maybe it will work out really well by giving them a lot of time. Like, nothing rushed about this movie. Maybe. Perhaps. We'll see.
I'm hopeful.
Yeah. So
I'm kind of checked out of Marvel, but I am hopeful.
Yeah, hopeful. All right. Alien Romulus from Fede Alvarez.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, and
gosh, I hope it's good.
And I don't know why, but like Kaylee Spaney, I've seen her in the Pacific Rim sequel, which isn't a good movie, but she was good in it, and she was in Bad Time at the El Royale, and she was great in that. So she's actually like a talented young actress. Like I could see her leading an Alien movie. Fede Alvarez is a talented director. Like. I want to be hopeful for this, that they haven't ruined Alien.
Yeah, he did. He did a 2013 Evil Dead remake, and then or reboot, whatever you want to call it, and then
Don't Breathe.
Don't Breathe.
Yeah. So definitely, again, I didn't love the Evil Dead 2013, but it was very well directed. Like I didn't love everything about the storyline, but I'm like this.
And his practical effects.
Yeah, his quality as a filmmaker is absolutely there. Yeah. Kraven the Hunter gonna be a not masterpiece.
Look, I like Aaron Taylor Johnson.
You know what shocked me about that trailer is that they have him doing an American accent. I've been saying for the last 10 years, like, do not make him do an American accent.
He loses his charm.
Yeah, any charisma and charm he has. He's in like a bit part in Tenet, and he's cool. He's got the beard, so cool. And he's just like a cool guy. And you put him in Kraven the Hunter, where you have every reason to not make him be an American, and he's doing an American accent, and he just seems like wet toast.
He also steals the show in Outlaw King with Chris Pine on Netflix.
Okay.
He's in it, and also leans into his accent, and just really, and he steals the show.
Everything he's done since Kick-Ass without his accent, he just seems like a chunk of wood. Yeah. I'm sorry. I like the guy, and he's awesome in, like I said, he's awesome in Tenet and Bullet Train and all that stuff. Like he's really great. But
I would think if he gets to be the next Bond, he'll get to keep his accent, and I think he'll be charming.
Yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson with versus without the accent is like two opposite ends of the spectrum. Like it's shocking. All right, Beetlejuice 2. I wasn't a Beetlejuice kid growing up.
I'm not either. Yeah. I mean, it's good. I like it. I like Michael Keaton. But
I like Tim Burton. I think having Jenna Ortega in there is like great casting. And also Michael Keaton's back, Winona Ryder, Monica Bellucci. Willem Dafoe. So I mean, like for people that like Beetlejuice, I'm sure they'll be all up into it. But I'm not really a Beetlejuice guy, so whatever. Transformers 1. The only thing that I find interesting about that is that it's a purely animated movie, but sort of CGI. So it's not necessarily, at least from what I understand, we haven't seen anything. But if they don't make it a cartoon, if they just lean into it being a CGI film entirely on Cybertron, no humans, that could actually be a really cool Transformers movie.
You thinking more like a video game cutscene CGI versus like just Transformers?
Yeah, something that's like kind of going for the kind of CGI you would see in a Transformers movie, but without the human actors in it. you know.
Gotcha.
And you've got Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime. You've got Scarlett Johansson in there. I'm sure she'll give a great performance. So, you know, it'll be fun. It'll be good. You know, she's a great voice actress.
One of the best actresses of all time.
Yeah. All right. Oh, Saw 11? Are you kidding me? Golly.
No.
No comment.
Next.
No comment. And I'm pretty positive on some of the early entries of the Saw franchise.
Nah.
Next. All right. Pronounce the subtitle of the next movie. Joker.
Folie à deux.
Folie à deux. Is that correct?
Pretty sure.
All right. Because I see it and I'm
You
like.
also can't say Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah. Denis Villeneuve. Yeah. Is it? Pronounce it for me. Denis
I believe it is Denis Villeneuve.
Villeneuve. So almost, okay, Denis Villeneuve.
You could probably get away with saying Villeneuve, but it's Denis Villeneuve.
All right, cool. And Joker, I just say Joker 2 when I see that subtitle.
Yeah, Lady Gaga.
Folie à deux. Okay, Folie à deux. But yeah.
Like part two.
Yeah, there's all these things where people are like, it's a musical, it's a musical, it's a musical. No one has outright said it is a musical. And if you think about the first Joker movie, there was a lot of music in it and a lot of featured music in it, and Arthur danced a lot in that movie. I wouldn't be shocked if this film has a bit more of that, like Lady Gaga dropping an original song for the movie.
That'll be huge.
There being some kind of like musical scene or sequence, but I do not think it is going to be a musical in the way that everyone is thinking when they say it's a musical.
Not like
I don't think they're going to be breaking
Phantom
out
of the Opera.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be breaking out into song and dance every 2 scenes. I don't think it's going to be that way. Now, if they did, I don't know. That's interesting, but I don't think that's where they're going. I think it will be more musical, but it will not be a musical.
I think she'll be like his muse, and she'll start singing, and
She'll
then he'll
be his
get into
musical?
like, you know, no, his muse.
Bad pun.
Oh, taking me right out of this thing.
Go.
No, so I think it'll. Look, I have faith. And
yeah,
Todd
until
Phillips.
I've got a reason, until I see a trailer that gives me some red flags, I don't have a reason to think that the people who made Joker won't deliver. Here's the thing, they didn't rush it out 2 years later. This is 5 years later. They wouldn't have done it unless they had confidence in what they were doing. So it might not be a vision everyone loves, but it's going to be a take, and it's going to be like creatively sound, you know, even if we don't all dig it.
It'll probably hit a Billy. I'm going to call it now.
Potentially. Here's the thing. There's a lot of debates over if Deadpool 3 or Joker 2 will become the new highest grossing R-rated film at the worldwide box office. Deadpool 3 certainly has all the hype and publicity to do it. Big summer movie, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, X-Men, multiverse. But
depends.
Here's the thing. If Marvel wasn't hurting right now, I think it'd be definitive. But now
I think it's almost like Marvel proof in the way that
you would hope.
And the way that Spider-Man No Way Home was almost like COVID proof.
Yeah.
It's just something people have got to see.
You have to see, especially after we were told for years that Jackman wasn't coming back, and then now he's back just like that. And it's like, okay, it's like,
here you go.
As a kid who one of my first superhero movies in the theater was X-Men, like Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, like you bring it back one last time, I get old man, and I'm like, I'll see him one last time, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So there you go. Smile 2, I didn't see Smile 1, but I heard it was very good. So maybe Smile 2 will be good. Lee Winnell's Wolfman.
So that was actually another actor just replaced Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
which I was going to be, I'm like, super into that.
Yeah, Ryan Gosling as
a Wolfman.
That's cool. I'm interested in how like low budget, because Invisible Man was very sort of low budget.
But it was good.
And it was good. I just didn't love it. Like, I think all of those should be like Victorian era, like Victorian England. Like I love that period piece style, like Dracula, Frankenstein. Like I think it like belongs there. And so like Wolfman, if this is like a modern take in the way Invisible Man was, I'm like, well, let me see it, you know, because it could be good. I'm not going to denounce it.
Unfortunately, Benicio del Toro and Joe Johnston's Wolfman was classical, and
that could have been great. Like there's a lot of director switches and a lot of trouble on that movie, and it could have been something special. Terrifier 3. Terrifier movie is actually kind of like underrated, schlocky, fun horror movies, but again, Terrifier 3. All right. Venom 3.
Nope.
I'm not.
I don't care.
I haven't been a fan of either of them. I'm not hating on them, but
dude. The first one is okay. It's
they
passable.
Just don't click.
The second one is not good. So when you're going down from, and you didn't even start in a great place for me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They feel like
just give me the Venom Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I know, right? I here's the thing. I said this before. I said if you want $1 billion at the box office, you want my money. I want to see Tom Hardy beating the shit out of Tom Holland. Like, I just want to see that visual. I want to see, like, yoked shredded Tom Hardy just, like, messing up Tom Holland. Like, black eyes, bloody nose, like, ravaging him. Like, but I'm paying for that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, that would be awesome to see because it'd be like really weird and uncomfortable, but like you're like into it, you know?
Knows? Who knows what they're going to do? But
give me
probably
that.
not.
Give me
probably
that.
not that.
Probably not that. So I will withhold my money. All right. So let's see here.
Where are we at in the year at this point?
We're in November. We're cruising right along through November. We've kind of trucked through it kind of light. I mean, I'm scrolling past a few, but I mean, not much. There ain't much to scroll past. Gladiator 2. Do you have hopes for that at all?
Here's the thing. I love Gladiator like everybody else, but Ridley Scott has kind of just been on this, I'm delivering 6.5, 7 out of 10 movies.
Yep.
When I know if he had just maybe, I don't know if he needs
tried
to take
harder.
more, I don't know if he needs to take more time,
Yeah.
but for whatever reason, he just hasn't been the Ridley Scott of old.
Yeah.
And
I hope
I don't know.
I hope it's good. Denzel Washington's awesome. Like I hope it's good. I like the first Ridley Scott. I like Gladiator. I'm not a massive Ridley Scott fan, but Gladiator is definitely one of his stronger ones. And guess who else is in this movie?
Djimon
Your
Hounsou.
boy Digimon Hounsou.
making a return.
Yeah,
I have to
he's
say,
gonna have a good 2024.
The star of the movie has been getting some crazy star power ratings recently.
Paul Mescal.
Yeah, he's like definitely
Mescal.
shooting up there.
Okay, cool. Okay, so it's not like Denzel Washington in the lead. So he's just in it. He's not.
He's
like
just in it. No,
okay,
Paul is going to be the lead.
Are they going with the weird concept that they had where it was like, well, they're probably not. Like the weird, like modern day weird sequel that was pitched to Gladiator back in the early 2000s where they were going to turn Maximus into some like God of War thing. Like it was going to be this weird thing. I don't see
Ridley Scott doing that. No,
I think this is just more Gladiator.
I think it's a straight sequel. Dude.
Yeah, just more Gladiator. Or is it like about his son growing up or something like that? Is it?
No, remember the kid? It could be him. I don't
maybe.
know. Who
Okay,
knows?
so we'll see. I mean,
Paul
this
Mescal
one
is definitely
this is one of those that needs a trailer. I need a trailer to get a vibe.
Yeah.
Wicked Part 1, I'm not terribly interested in Wicked, you know. Ariana Grande's in it. Okay, fine. You know, that'll be fine, but you know, I'm not terribly interested. Lord of the Rings: The War of the Rohirrim, an anime CGI Lord of the Rings prequel movie.
I don't know anybody who's touched Lord of the Rings other than Peter Jackson, and even including Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
After the original trilogy,
Featuring the voice talents of Brian Cox and Miranda Otto, who famously played Éowyn. Like she's going to be doing some kind of like narrator kind of thing. I don't know how strongly they are or are not tethering it to the Jackson interpretation because it is from Warner Brothers. It is being made like under their film license, but I don't think Peter Jackson's name is on this at all. So The Lord of the Rings is one of those things where the trilogy is so good that everything additive, whether it be this Rings of Power schlock heap or these animated prequels they want to do or things like that, only runs the risk of like damaging the reputation. And like, you know, when you say you're a Lord of the Rings fan and then everyone's just going to think of all of this modern crap, it's like, no, this trilogy from now 20 years ago. It's like, how long are we going to hold on to the trilogy masterpiece as all this other feces from Lord of the Rings comes potentially that ruins it?
it all just feels like impersonations.
Yeah, a new Karate Kid movie co-starring Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio. I feel like anything anyone would have wanted from this movie, Cobra Kai's already doing it, so I'm not interested. Mufasa, the Lion King prequel.
No.
Not interested. This is a horrible end to 2024. We're in December
Well,
here.
and here's the thing. It doesn't sound like there's no like Oscar or award-winning movies we're talking about here. It doesn't sound like.
Well, that would probably be all the stuff I scrolled past that like had an obscure name, and I'm like, I don't know
whatever.
what that is, whatever. All right, so here's two potential golden nuggets in December. One of them, speaking of, this one I'm very hyped for. Robert Eggers' Nosferatu.
Yes.
With Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok. And it's got Lily Rose Depp, Aaron Taylor Johnson probably doing his British accent.
And
Nicholas Hoult's in it. Willem Dafoe is in it. You know, like that's Robert Eggers, like that dude rules. And him with Nosferatu is like Denny the Mini with Dune. Like it's like hand in glove. It makes perfect sense. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, a lot of people like to, when they do those like Twitter polls, they'll say like, who's the better, Robert Eggers or Jordan Peele? And
it's Robert
and for me,
Eggers.
Robert Eggers has had his filmography is much more consistent,
100%,
and stronger. Like, I mean, the dude has just made bangers.
There's
like,
just
they're
craft.
So good.
There's craft to it. The Northman, Witch, like mood, atmosphere, aesthetics.
The Lighthouse barely edges out as to be my favorite of those three.
See, I think
and then the Northman.
See, I think I'm a Northman kind of guy. Like I like, I like the violence and the fighting and all that stuff.
Pure testosterone. So right there. But
Yeah, good stuff.
I think The Lighthouse was, 2019?
Something like that. I think I'd go Witch over Lighthouse. I really liked Witch, but Anya Taylor-Joy is just, like, awesome in that movie. So, like, I think
I mean, here's the thing. When you could argue any of them to be as his best one, whereas Jordan Peele, like,
it's definitely Get Out
is his best.
Yeah, definitely Get Out is the best.
And then you debate from there.
For sure. So yeah, Nosferatu, that's gonna be a banger. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the Sonic movies have done pretty solid so far. Like they've kind of, they kind of laid some groundwork for Mario to be $1.5 billion hit.
Yeah, they have more than justified their existence.
Exactly. And I mean, kudos to them when the Sonic design came out and everyone was like, this is horrible. They were like, hey, we're going to shell out a couple extra million. We're going to delay it by 2 months and we're going to make it right. And now they have a franchise. Now they're delivering number 3 of like $1 billion franchise.
Although the Knuckles thing didn't happen, right?
No, Knuckles was correct from the beginning. What Knuckles thing? What
wasn't there like a Knuckles?
Like a spin-off thing? Yeah, I don't know if all the strikes and stuff put that on hold, or they kind of realized like not everything needs to be a shared universe, and just canceled it. Like
go back to the 2000s when we had trilogies.
Just give us trilogies. Yeah, here's the thing. We still don't know who's voicing Shadow, and depending on who they pick, it could be really awesome. There are some people hoping for like Keanu Reeves. Like that would be a cool Shadow voice. I
feel like if they plug in Jack Black in anything nowadays,
Jack Black,
like he's not necessarily for like but like he's now been cast. A little bit of news in the Minecraft movie.
Oh yeah,
it's like every time they throw Jack Black in these movies,
don't give me Jack Black as Shadow. Just being like, I don't need that. I would take Chris Pratt as Shadow before Jack Black. People have said like Robert Pattinson. There are people, they'll take clips of John Wick, they'll take clips of the Batman and like put it over Shadow footage, and it's like, any of those cool gruffly voiced guys could do it. Like it's got to be one of those. I hope they lean into like one of the ones that everyone's rooting for, not like some weird obscure person.
Keanu Reeves voiced Batman in Super Pets, and I watched it because of my kids.
Yeah,
and he was like hilarious doing this deadpan voice that he did. Dude, it was so good.
That's great. That's so great. Good. So yeah, dude. Hashtag Keanu for Shadow. We'll take it. But yeah, that's literally all that's on the docket for 2024.
Oh my gosh.
It's a light year, it's gonna be rough.
Dune was supposed to be this year or last year, rather 23.
Yeah, which I think it would have made bank because all these movies at the end of 2023 ended up kind of doing light at the box office. Dune would have cleaned house, but I think it's going to clean house in March too.
I do
because there's not much going on there. So.
What? And so with Deadpool, I'm sorry, there no other Marvel movies coming out?
No other Marvel. The one Marvel movie coming in 2024 is Deadpool 3. So it's all or nothing with that one.
So it's Thunderbolts, I think 25 then?
Yeah, they delayed all that stuff to 25. Once the writer strike and actor strike hit, and then apparently all of those movies were like awful too. Like they're like with Captain America, New World Order or
massive
Brave
reshoots.
New World that they've it's like they're refilming almost the whole thing. Did you hear Anthony Mackie's anecdote with Harrison Ford about Captain America?
Nope.
That Harrison Ford would actively call the movie. You can bleep this if you want. He'd actively call the movie a piece of shit. like at the start of the day, like Harrison Ford would be like, "All right, let's go film this," and Anthony Mackie would be like, "Yeah, let's go film this." That's kind of rough. That's kind of rough.
And look, when you change it from New World Order to Brave New World or whatever it is,
that's one and the other. It's like all of it sounds dumb.
I'm not even getting political. That just sounds stupid.
That's just bad names, and plus you're just gonna like trigger conspiracy theorists and create a bunch of unnecessary.
And also, they did a lot of the Deadpool show. Not Deadpool. I'm sorry, Daredevil. And halfway through, they scrapped it.
Yeah, it was going to be
it
was going to be an 18-episode series, and they scrapped all 8 of the episodes they had in the can at that point. How bad is that? That She-Hulk happens, and they let that go, but then Daredevil is so bad they have to go page 1.
They finally noticed that you have to actually have a showrunner for your shows, and you can't just stretch a movie out into 20 episodes.
Exactly.
You have to have that pace, that cadence that shows have.
Yeah, there could be a documentary made about the downfall of Marvel, and it would probably make more money than most of the than the Marvels. That's for sure.
Oh, geez,
it'd be more compelling. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think people have had it enough with just generic, not even B, but just C plus Marvel movies. When you give us movies like Endgame and Infinity War and No Way Home, and look, I'll be the first one to tell you that I actually don't think No Way Home is an amazing movie. It's an amazing ride and an amazing experience. It's an
experience, yeah. And you know what? And it manages to do it. It does the nostalgia thing without crapping on the characters it brings back. It feels like it's not doing it like the way they do it in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness feels like cameo bait.
Right.
The way they did it in No Way Home felt like it was still servicing those characters. You know, after the Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey ends on a little bit of uncertainty with him and Mary Jane, and so he comes back and they kind of reinforce like, hey, it worked out with them. Gives you some closure. Right. Andrew Garfield's character had a lot of unfinished business. They give you a semblance of resolution in this. They use it to actually give a crap about these characters and do something with them, as opposed to just like, oh, hey, we've got 3 Spider-Men on screen, you know, which is fun, but...
Well, like I said, you know, you give us these 3 movies as like cappers to, you know, an almost perfect like saga, if you will, so to speak, not a perfectly made movies. And then how do you expect people to be okay with anything less than great?
Yeah, very good. You can't just shovel the crap out and say, oh, look, Love and Thunder. Oh, look, Multiverse of Madness. Wakanda Forever. Like, these just mid movies. Does anyone say Black Panther 2 was better than Black Panther 1? Does anyone say it's nearly as good?
Well, and here's the thing. You know it's bad when you go back and compare movies that were at the time like just middle of the road, not totally critically and received, like Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
And you compare Iron Man 2 to movies now, it is so much better.
I would take an Iron Man 2 or Thor the Dark World over The Marvels or Wakanda Forever any day of the week. Quantumania, any day of the week. Any day of the week.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
whatever.
It is what it is, I suppose, but yeah.
Well, I think 2024 is still going to give us some decent movies, some decent blockbusters.
I hope it'll surprise us with a few things as well.
Yeah, and we didn't even really mention any of like potential like Oscar winner movies or whatever.
Yeah, if I didn't recognize the name while I was scrolling, I just scrolled right past it. I didn't mention every single release. We don't got that kind of time. I'd have to click on every page and be like, oh, this is the next whatever movie, you know.
Yeah.
But
well, anyways, I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up. Let us know what movies you're really looking forward to in 2024.
Hit us up in the comments. Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter or X at The Film Jump, and check us out on Spotify. And very soon we will have a video component of this dropping. So that'll be uploaded on YouTube, and we'll be able to cut it up into smaller chunks and maybe even TikTok, stuff like that.
Yeah, more shareable, more digestible bits.
Yeah. So you don't have to do the marathon. And then eventually what we're going to do is we're going to drop episodes audio anyways for like the diehard fans, so to speak, the listeners earlier, like on a Friday, and then the YouTube videos and such will be posted on the following Mondays. So you'll get it early audio.
Yeah, so get on that Spotify.
Yep, follow us on Spotify. But all right, well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. This is The Film Jump.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
You are not in Kansas anymore. You are on Pandora.
No, I'm simply saying that life finds a way.